Hello, and welcome to Shrink, the podcast for the mind. I'm Philippe and I talk to the people who want to have a better understanding of their issues with weight and body image. Hi, Lucy.
Hello.
Hello.
Bonsoir. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir, Madame Cavendish. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm very good. Yeah. I mean, the weather has been amazing, so I've been doing a lot of walking sessions, which I love doing. So where I walk and talk with my clients, mainly in Hyde Park now, and it's so nice to be out there all day long. And so I feel good. I've got a bit of a tan, and
Okay.
Yeah,
I believe you.
We said we would talk about sex today, but why do we want to talk about sex? I mean, not only sex, I guess, but why did we?
Why do you want to talk? I tell you why I want to talk about sex. We want to talk about sex because people don't talk about sex.
I know, yeah.
And when I see couples, and I also see people who want to meet people or date or whatever, the one issue that we never talk about is sex. And when I say to people, listen, I think we need to, I think we should talk about sex at some point. There's a sort of tumbleweed moment, silence and embarrassment of, oh my God, she's mentioned, that word. And so I think we should talk about it, because when I write articles about it, which I do sometimes for the Times, there is everything I say is going to be like a euphemism. Okay, there is a big response.
No, I'm sure. I mean, I see the same with my clients, and it's not something that people talk easily about. Although I think it shouldn't be like that, because it's nice. I mean, it can be nice, actually.
Yeah, but it can also be not so nice, which is why
it can also be not so nice.
All the things. I mean, sex. The point about sex, and the point that I always want to sort of talk about with them, is sex can be all sorts of things, and intimacy can be all sorts of things. And people think of sex as being erections and orgasms and performance. And if she loved me, she'd do X. And if he loved me, he'd do Y. But we don't broaden the conversation about sex to other things, about what's happening with the couple, what's happening with their physical relationship. It's actually about intimacy rather than just about, a roll in the hay or how many times, point scoring. We do it 6 times a week. Our next door neighbors do it once a month, so we're better than them, that sort of thing. Or that if we have sex a lot, we're happy, we're a great couple because we have sex a lot. Or people are saying, should I have sex on the first date? My answer is that no. But then
why is that? Why would you say that?
Okay. What I would say is, it depends what you're looking for on your date. If you're going on a date and you really fancy someone and you're feeling basically horny and you think it would be great fun, and why not? And you're consciously deciding to do it, fine. That's quite rare. Most people have sex on the first date for all sorts of reasons. They think they should, or if they don't, he or she won't like them, but I think you do whatever you want to do, but do it consciously. Do it consciously.
And you were talking about intimacy. Do you think to have good sex, I mean, I don't like this expression, in fact, when I say it, good sex, but do you think you need to be intimate emotionally as well? Do you think you need in order for the sex to be good, do you need like a special connection?
No, I think you can have really hot sex with a stranger in a car park if that's what you want to do. I don't think to have great sex can be whatever you want. People go to S&M clubs and have fantastic sex with people who are dominant and submissive. So no, I don't think that. But I think what a lot of people do in their intimate lives as time goes on is they play roles, or they play act, or they shut down. And with that, there isn't intimacy. So I think you can have really hot, great sex all over the place if it's hot, great sex and that's what you like. But I think as time goes on, what people get into is a breakdown of their intimate relations for all sorts of other reasons, and sex and sex sort of goes by the by. So it's a sort of a barometer what's happening in a relationship. as time goes on. But I think you can, people in long-term relationships can have great, do all sorts of things. They can role play, they can get a bit kicky, they can do all sorts of stuff. But we, a lot of the times we don't play with sex. Oh my God, it's my husband, dog. I wonder if, I was going to watch, the telly, so maybe he could kind of hurry up a bit and then I can go and watch Endeavour, rather than having fun.
And sometimes I hear some of my clients or even friends saying, well, in fact, we're not having sex anymore, or very, very occasionally, but it's fine. I mean, you come to a point where it's, well, you hear that, you probably hear that as well sometimes.
Yeah, but I think that's just
some
not
kind of
true.
denial, or?
I think we need to, what am I trying to say? I think what people then probably want and don't get is intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can be in a long-term relationship and maybe you're not having penetrative sex for all sorts of reasons, but I think what happens is people just shut down. He sleeps over that side of the bed, she sleeps over that side of the bed, or he and she, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. The couple sleep kind of separately, and it's good night, good night, and they go to bed at separate times. And then there's date night, the dreaded date night where you've got to go out and find something to talk about that's not about, the dogs or the kids or your work. And, who on earth wants to go and do that? And then maybe you might have sex. So people, I think, forget about engendering intimacy in their relationships,
mm-hmm.
which is something like, I don't look at, quite often I say to couples, just look at each other. I'm looking at you now, Philippe, right? I'm looking in your eyes. You can't
I'm
see
very intimidated.
You're not. I know. But, people don't do this. They don't.
No, I know. No, I agree. I totally agree. And then because I'm more specialized in weight issues and body image issues, it's not unusual that some people would put on some weight because they don't have this intimacy with their partner, and food is something very intimate, something we put in our mouth and it becomes part of us. So instead of having this intimate relationship with their partner, or even sometimes with friends, they would transfer it into, they would start eating more. They would have this intimacy with food, and of course it's on the long term it's not satisfying. It's because it's completely different. It's like something they would use for a while, and they would see that they put on some weight, and it's not a good way to replace the lack of sex, of course, or the lack of sex, or the lack of physical intimacy.
Yeah, and I think that goes with things like touch, with gentleness, with Kundalini sex is about, I'll get the terminology wrong, but it's away from penetration, it's away from orgasm. It's about stroking and holding and
tenderness, some kind of tenderness,
nibbling. And quite often I'll say to my couples, how well do you know each other's bodies? How well do you know your own body? I mean, obviously I don't know about men, I'm not a man. But, women of my generation, I'm 54 because I don't lie about my age, we were not encouraged to be intimate with our bodies. I mean, that was sort of filthy, dirty, and only dirty sluts did stuff like that, like masturbate or feel them. Are there any idea about when their body felt good?
Yeah. And then there is also the fact that with age, sorry, interrupted you.
A lot of people don't know that about their bodies. And if you don't know what you like, how are you going to help your lover, love you and be with you and be intimate with you if you don't know what you really like? It doesn't mean say a lover's got to do it. And they might go, God, no, I don't want to do that. But,
And also with age, sometimes our body, well, not sometimes, most of the time our bodies change. And we don't read I hear some people saying, I don't recognize my body. It's not like, it's like their mind is like separated from their body. When they look at themselves in the mirror, they don't like what they see because their skin is different. They put on some weight, and sometimes not much, sometimes a lot. And so they're disconnected from their body. They're not intimate with their own body.
Yeah, why on earth would anyone go and look at themselves in the mirror? I mean,
I know.
don't
No, I agree.
love your body because you know your body. I don't really look at my body in the mirror because I don't know what I'm going to see, because I'm very comfortable in my body, and I don't want to go and look at my body and go, oh my God, do I actually look like that? And, I'm having a lovely relationship in a completely naive way with my body, and I think, I've had 4 kids. I'm healthy. I'm well. I'm fit. I just thank my body for keeping going, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Well done, body, is all I can say. So, and I think it's such a shame for women, and I can only talk for women, although I have met men really, who go into the menopause, come out the other side, really not liking their body, and really.
I know. But it's not unusual. It's more common than we think sometimes.
It's really common, and it's really debilitating, actually.
It is, yeah. And in terms of dating, it makes a massive difference, because when they would start dating, they would have such a poor image or a negative image about themselves. So, as clients or as friends, I meet amazing women who are, beautiful and doing great as mothers or at work and stuff like that. But just because they don't like, they have this, this terrible body image about themselves, they would date the wrong guys. It's like they wouldn't date someone which is at the same, I don't know if it's the right term, but the same level as they are. We're not as nice persons as a person as they are, because they feel like, well, look at me, I look like shit. I mean, sometimes I hear really strong words.
A gift I can give to women. I mean, women say to me things like, how can you take your clothes off in front of a man? I mean, not that I do at the moment, but, here's hoping. There's always hope, Philippe. Because actually, number one, well, we've all aged, okay? I've aged, they've aged. It's not like they're sitting there being 25 like a young buck. And also men, in my experience, are so grateful that anyone wants to have sex with them, that they don't, they wouldn't care if you had 3 bottoms. They'd probably actually like it if you had 3 bottoms. They're so kind of grateful that some woman actually might, have sex with them, that they don't, they don't care. Men, I think, love women's bodies a lot more than women loves women's bodies, actually. And that's, women really need to kind of know that, actually. Men are just like, you're beautiful and you're gorgeous. And they're not sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, you've got cellulite.
But some women, because I know more about women than men in this matter.
And that's because you're a closet woman, really, isn't it? You're a man, Philippe. You're actually a man.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I know, you forgot.
You can tell them, as many times, or you can repeat, many times. Come on, you look amazing. You're great, and I love you. You can go into details. Even they won't hear you, or they think you're just trying to please them, or you're just trying to make them feel better about themselves. But they won't believe one word I would say, or other men would say. And it does have a big influence on the relationship that you have with these men or women, because they somehow they feel insecure. There is a massive insecurity in the relationship.
Yeah, so that's really difficult. I mean, I think it's amazing to be menopausal, because number one, for the first time in my life, I don't have periods. How amazing is that?
Yeah.
Really amazing. So amazing. Who knew? And number two, I can't get pregnant. It's fantastic. I've spent decades going, oh my God, what if I'm pregnant? Oh my God, what if I'm pregnant? And now I'm like, oh my God, this is great. I can have as much sex as I like, and I can't get pregnant. It's fantastic. Like, what a fantastic gift to not have to.
No, I can only imagine. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah, no, of course.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Do you think sex when you're a middle-aged man or woman, how different it is than when you're like 25 or 30? Do you think it's different, or should it be different?
I think it's much more enjoyable, actually, for me.
Why is that?
Well, I think when I was, and this is personal how I feel. It's not everything. I think there is a lovely thing when you're young, but I don't think when you're young that you realize that you're as beautiful as you are. Because your skin hasn't aged and sagged and your breasts haven't aged, blah, blah, blah. You don't know you've got fantastic breasts and springy skin and a wonderful bottom and beautiful lustrous hair, because I was much more insecure then. I'm a much more secure person now than I was when I was 20. And also I didn't really, understand sex, because my family didn't talk about sex. And when people kissed on the television, my mother would turn it off. And the messaging was kind of, you know, only slutty girls have sex and enjoy it. Only, you just have sex to have babies, and woe betide if you have sex and have a baby when you're not, married or anything. Although, of course, that's exactly what I did do. So
I'm not surprised.
Of course, there was no encouragement about kind of enjoying your body or what to ask from your partner or what, different generation. The people I talk to now in their 20s feel totally different about it. They're much more open about it. They're much more aware of what they want. But they also say that a lot of people have been really affected by pornography. So like no one has hair anymore, and no one has natural breasts, and everybody has Botox when they're like 12, which is insane. So it swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
No, it is. And you were saying earlier, so your first advice, and then which we moved to something else, would be, well, don't have sex on the first date.
Oh, I would say, because I would like, if any person wants to get into bed with me, they have to work pretty hard. It's about self-worth for me, right? If someone wants to go to bed with me, they've got to work hard. I don't just give myself away because somebody just fancies it. However, if I feel like I want to go and have sex and I meet someone I want to have sex with, because I feel like I want to have sex, that's also fine. But I think a lot of people have sex very quickly because they think they ought to, or they want to kind of snare someone, or they want to be in a relationship. And then they haven't really worked out, do we like each other? Or do we feel comfortable together? Can I ask what I want? Can I ask my partner what he or she wants?
Yeah. No,
how might we build this really fantastic, intimate sex life that involves play, that involves whatever, fantasy, that involves tenderness, that moves backwards and forwards from something that maybe is a little bit out there to something that's, much more tantric, which is very much around, looking at each other's eyes. And I find that very sexy. I think it's really sexy, that very, very together body experience where you're just kissing and looking at each other. It's very sexy. But I think that takes time to build, and that trust takes time to build. But I'm not saying don't go out and have sex if you fancy it. Go do it. Why not?
But you think it's not like it's probably not a good idea if you fancy someone and you think you could with time become like a nice couple or have a nice relationship, to do it on the first date. That's what you.
Well, I never would, because I think you need to. I think it's like someone told me it's just this courtly love thing. I kind of say you could probably kiss the tips of my fingers if you're really lucky, and that's quite erotic.
Yeah.
And leave you wanting a little bit more.
No, in fact, I totally agree with you.
Work a little bit hard. You need to do a little bit of jousting to get my affections. You need to prove your mettle and your worth. Maybe the next time you might be able to kiss like the inside of my elbow. Maybe that lovely little bit of white skin on the inside of my arm, and then I'm gone. Work. Do a little bit of work. Do a little bit of kind of sensuality. A little bit of teasing.
So, but it's funny because in the two examples that you're giving, it's like the man has to go for it, to kiss you there.
That's me. That's me. I'm a girl, so
Yeah.
It can be the other way. It could be the other way around. It can be, and it can shift between the two.
Okay.
That's what I would like, but that's me talking personally.
Because I think things have changed somehow now, and I'm not sure. Maybe the expectations haven't changed that much, but sorry?
You can shift it around. I mean, a man might do a little bit of wooing, and then a woman might do a little bit of wooing or whatever. It might be a man and a man, or a woman and a woman, whatever. You can shift it around a bit. But I think that eroticism of waiting, waiting to go to bed with each other can be fantastic at building a relationship and building intimacy. That kind of will we, won't we tension.
It is if you don't build up.
It's all gone. You've blown it all out of the water. You see, with the first date, then what are you going to do? We've done that now. Now what are we going to do?
It is if you don't build up some fears, because for some people, then it's like it's getting very intense, and then you feel, well, is it going to be up to his expectations or her expectations? And so I think it should come. It should. If you're into that process where you meet someone and you get to know that person and you're flirting with that person, you can start talking a bit about it. And
exactly. Exactly.
Mm.
I agree with you. You can start talking a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think people's sex lives tend to fall apart because they just get stuck in a rut. And then that's when they come and say, well, I'm okay with that. But my whole thing is, well, your relationship doesn't have to be like that. If you want to come and if you want to come and work on your intimate life,
Mm-hmm.
And see if that restarts a more active sexual, physical life, I think that's really possible. A lot of couples discover something about each other that's been dormant, or they never knew it in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for some people, it's like becoming a parent. Somehow you're in bed with a mother or a father. You're not in bed with a man or a woman anymore.
Yeah, that's a killer.
Mm.
Same for women. I mean, it's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to switch when you've got little kids. It's very hard to feel sexy when you've got little kids because you're knackered and you're tired and you're a mom. And being a mom at the moment doesn't feel, isn't put in the category of this is sexy.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't have to be like that all the time.
No, of course it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. It's about so you're not only a mother, you're also a woman. You're not only a father, you're also a man. Yeah. Even in terms of dating, some people introduce themselves or speak about themselves as a mother. I'm a mother. So even on dating apps, they would say I'm a mother, and and which
That's
I think
that must be the biggest turn off known to anybody, isn't it?
Well, it is. Well, it could be a turn on for some people, I guess. I don't know, but it's not sexy. It's not appeal. Yeah.
If I go on a dating app, which I don't say I'm a mother of 4 children, because I think that I don't know. Do you know what? I don't think of myself that's not how I would define myself. I am a mother of 4 children. It's really important to me.
And it's great, but it's not. But you're a woman, and especially when you're going on a date. Sorry.
I don't feel defined by that.
Mm. So do you think you can? Do you think that when you've let go with when you stop having physical intimacy or sex, or do you think it's something you can regain? Do you think it's something you can get back to?
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm. Totally. So what do you need to do? So for me, it's being intimate again, not only physically but also emotionally.
Yeah. So I think you start with the emotional intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
I think you start noticing. Most people have stopped noticing each other.
Yeah, and then they don't look at each other.
There's all sorts of reasons why sex breaks down, and a lot of it is to do with emotional stuff. It's to do with withholding and anger and retribution and punishment. And if it's really to do with lack of interest, if it really is, I'm just not interested in him, I'm not interested in her, you are pretty much done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, of course.
You would have to rekindle the interest in each other. If two people saying, actually, I couldn't give a toss what he does, I really don't care about her, you would have a lot of hard work to get them to reconnect. Most people have just got into habitual sort of habits, habitual behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
So they just don't do it anymore. And then what happens is it gets to be a thing that's like terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we've got to have sex.
Mm-hmm.
And so people make up all sorts of excuses like, I've just got to, finish the washing up. Or, and this is a big topic and we won't talk about it now, but there is a fear that comes in.
It's massive. It's massive. I know it's a massive fear. And is the idea that it could be rejected, not being loved anymore. There is
for women, it's the idea you've actually got to have sex. They don't want to have sex with their partners.
I know, and that's in my book. In fact, I talked about that. I called it the kilos of abstinence, unconsciously, of course. Some men can do that, and women as well. They would put on some weight so that they feel like they're not attractive anymore, and they don't have to have sex with their partner, wife or husband or boyfriend or whatever. So somehow it's a way to build a barrier between them and their partner or wife or husband. And of course, it's something you do unconsciously. And I've called it the kilos of abstinence. And
I think I don't know about the weight thing. For a lot of women and probably men, it's really impossible to put it into words because it's a body feeling. So, for example, and I always use this analogy, it's like, let's say that the man is desperate to have sex with his partner, really wants to have sex, hasn't had sex for a while, and he's sort of climbing up the walls because he wants to have sex. the partner is aware, let's say it's a woman, that her partner wants to have sex, but what she really wants is some tenderness and some intimacy and some care, and to be talked to and listened to and related to, and the man just wants to basically, penetrate her. So you've got a problem. So then what happens every time the woman reaches over to have some kind of intimacy with her partner, which is
he wants to have sex then, yeah.
He thinks this is an invitation to shag her like a terrier, up someone's leg. So
I like the images you're choosing. Yeah.
And he's on her like a bloody, a rat up a drain pipe. So then what happens is she then thinks, well, I'm never going to touch him because as soon as I touch him, he's trying to shag me. And actually, I'm not there yet, because what I want is tenderness and intimacy and consideration and some idea that this is difficult for me because I've just had kids, whatever. And so there are two completely different places. And he thinks underneath it, he thinks if she loved me, she would give me a blowjob or something. And she thinks if he loves me, he wouldn't keep insisting that I did. And then you've got two people thinking two entirely different things. Thinking the other one doesn't love them, because if he loved me, he wouldn't make me, he wouldn't keep bloody trying to put his penis up my bit. And if she loved me, she'd let me shag her. It's not much to ask. And then they're out of connection, and then no sex is going to happen.
And they just don't talk about it. That's the thing. They have no idea. So
they're both rejected. Of course, they don't talk about it. How's that dialogue going to go? I want to have more sex with you. I never want to have sex with you again. That's the dialogue. It's not going to work. No,
but you can have another kind of dialogue. You can say, well, I really fancy you talking about the man, because that's what that's the example you were giving. I feel like I miss not having sex with you because it's something I really like. And the woman could say, well, it's something I would like to get back there, because let's say if they were, they enjoyed it, both of them in the past. But right now, what I need is more tenderness and some physical intimacy. And I'm not at the same place as you are. But can we work on this? Can we work on this together? Can we start by being playful, by having fun, by being close physically?
Start off by, as I say to my clients, what do you really want from each other? They don't know. I'm like, okay, would you like him to put on some candles and run you a bath and massage your shoulders and maybe wash your hair if you like, you're in the hammam? I think that's really lovely, actually, but that is me. Someone washing your hair for you. It's very tender. It's very intimate. She's relaxed. And then, what would you like her to do for you? Apart from the obvious, not that. Would you like? And so I could often say, you need it to be the partner that's more, I want the intimacy and the tenderness, I don't just want penetrative sex, is the person that needs to lead the intimacy. Because you're being led by the one that's going, I'm terrified. And this is complicated. Why are some people terrified of having sex? I can't answer that question in this podcast right now, because it's a huge question. But
sometimes it's sometimes it's the only ground where they don't. It's like they need to have their. Like they spend all their time together. They've raised kids together. They spend the evening on the sofa together watching series. They sleep in the same bed. It's like their last territory that they don't want to share anymore. It's like their own space. They need that because they feel like that's how they feel. That's how they could feel.
Something about being invaded, or I don't know. It's really hard to put it into words. But underneath it all, there's other stuff. I know certainly for myself that I've withheld sex in the past as a punishment. Because I haven't felt loved, but whatever, because I'm tired, and then I'm kind of terrified. I think that if I start having sex with this person, it's like they're going to take me over. I'm going to be subsumed into their world,
exactly.
And they're going to say things okay, and everything isn't okay. I mean, when I was, in previous relationships, I have to be careful what I say. If my person was grumpy or upset or in a bad mood, I think, I'm just going to have sex and we'll be happy, and it would work like a dream. Happy man, go off to work, happy. And in fact, actually, we had a great sex life, so it was fine, and I enjoyed it. But sometimes I think, okay, if you want him to to go to work and be happy and stop ringing and complaining about how miserable he is, you just better go and have sex with him, and then he'd be so happy. I mean, for men, it feels it's like really immediate. It's not the same for women generally. Generally, you know, we need a little bit more.
So would you speak about it then, or would you ever speak about it, or like say even you know, like in a playful or like joking about it, saying well, it seems like you've forgotten about all your worries and stuff like that. It's funny how you.
No, but I mean, of course he knew that, and I knew that he's a very intelligent man. You know,
Okay.
of course that was funny, but you know, that it was just really. I always found it really interesting, and I think, oh well, you know, that'll make him happy. But I enjoyed it. So at the end of the day, it kind of made me happy. So
yeah.
But I would have to kind of think, oh God, okay, you know, just kind of factor it in, you know.
So you agree with this? I mean, that's, I think, in substance what you say, that it's all about the intimacy, and it's, I think, intimacy. How can you be intimate with someone else if you're not first intimate with yourself? But if you don't get to know yourself, being more intimate with yourself emotionally and physically as well. And
yeah, but I think sex is also about other stuff. I think it's about
fantasy. Of course, yeah.
I think it can be pretty dark, and I think it can take you to very strange places that you didn't, you know, existed inside you. And I think it can be seriously kinky, and I think it can be seriously violent. I think it can be many, many, many things. I don't, you know, that is, and that isn't really about intimacy. That's about a whole set of other stuff. That's normally in fairy stories, actually. Angela Carter's fairy stories are all about the darkness of sex and desire and S&M and all the other fetishisms and spanking and role playing and, you know, all that stuff.
I think when we get to this kind of things, it's unusual that both partners are completely okay with it, and one of the partners is more. You don't agree with that?
No, I don't think so. I think sex can go to all sorts of different places, and I will often say to my partners, if they're brave enough and we've worked together enough, and I'm not saying they share it with me, go and write down your deeper. You know, there's a difference between a fantasy and wanting it to happen. Okay, we can all have all sorts of fantasies. That doesn't necessarily mean we want it actually to happen in our real life, but there's something in fantasy. I mean, why do people watch porn? You know, why do people get off on stuff like that? They do. You know, couples quite often get off watching porn together, but no one ever talks about it because women aren't supposed to like watching porn. Loads of women like watching porn.
No, I know. Yeah. But they're more or less.
It's you know, I think couples that are really intimate and together, they can go to extraordinary places together if there's trust and they want to go there, and they want, you know, really they can have a really exciting life that can be very intimate and gorgeous, and it can also be whatever. You know, there are couples that, you know, pretend they don't know each other, and he picks her up in a bar and takes her upstairs, and they have like piles of fantastic sex.
But that, because you were talking about very dark places. You were talking about very dark places, so that's why I was mentioning
very dark places. Yeah, I think if you're going somewhere very dark, like if you're very into, I mean, when I say very dark, everyone will have their own, you know, version of what that is.
I think it's very dark when one of them doesn't really want to do it, but will do it to please the other one.
I agree,
or not to lose their partner. I think then there is something dark and damaging and even dangerous in that case.
Yeah, I mean, I do know some people that have fantasies that actually have sexual peccadillos that are kind of pretty out there. And they've come and said, you know, my partner, you know, doesn't really, you know, want to do that. What should I do? And I said, well, if you want to experience it, I think you probably need to go and pay for it somewhere. You need to go do. But you probably need to talk about it with your partner. These things are complicated.
It is complicated.
Very complicated. Because the psychopathology of that is a much bigger issue. You know,
The what?
Well, a lot of, like Freud and that would say there's a lot of psychopathology around why someone wants to be virtually strangled to death to have an orgasm, you know, an autoerotic asphyxiation situation. I don't know the pathology behind it. I haven't studied it enough, but I'm sure lots of people have. Lots of people have. But it depends if you think it's a problem. If you think, you know, autoerotic asphyxiation isn't a problem for you and you can get it somewhere, it's not a problem. It's only a problem if you're sitting there feeling deeply in shame and thinking, I really want to stop these sexual urges, then it's a problem.
It's also a problem if you go and pay for it or have it somewhere else. If your partner doesn't know it, it can be a problem then.
It's a difficult area, isn't it?
Okay, let's not speak about that now.
Let's not speak about it.
And I wanted to kind of end our conversation. I mean, we could speak for hours. We did already before, to just when we were together. But how do you combine a good sex life with? Someone could think, well, the things we've talked about, it's not very romantic. In fact, it's. Do you separate romanticism and sex, or is it romantic?
No, I don't separate romanticism and sex. There's, like I said, there's all sorts of different versions of sex. Does
talking about sex somehow kills the magic that you can have in a relationship?
Well, I think people talk about sex when I think the situation when we never talk about sex isn't healthy.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Yeah.
If you sat there and did nothing but talk about your sex life together, it would be kind of, it'd be quite dull. It'd be like, that kind of chemistry bit. Everyone knows that when they've met someone and there's a chemistry. Everyone knows that feeling. It's completely addictive. You walk into a room and you catch someone's eye and there's a chemistry between you and you think, wow, and that's like having bottles of champagne popping off in your body.
And how would you define chemistry? Because
it's electric. It's electric. It's electric. Now,
but not only. I memean, psychologically, there is much more than that, in fact.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that a feeling when you go into a party or a dinner or whatever, and you meet someone and there's a strong connection. That doesn't mean say it's a healthy connection, doesn't mean say it's going to happen. But people build on that, and that's a great bit. And then at some point they get together and have sex or whatever they do. Yeah, if you went and sat down there and said, "I've just seen you across the room, and I've actually had these popping experiences," and I actually it comes on a mile because you'd have killed it stone dead.
So I know. Yeah, no, of course.
Timing.
Yeah.
What I feel is this, and what I want to know is that have I got the popping sensation because blah blah, or actually, my God, we'll be there forever. So yeah, you've got to kind of read it. You've got to play with it and read it and get it, and not just kill it.
And I think humor as well is a good thing. Even I mean, it's not about being a clown in bed, but I mean, some having being able to joke about things in certain way can really help in the relationship and the intimacy you have with someone. I think it can be something which really helps connecting with someone.
Yeah, have fun, play,
being playful,
enjoy each other's bodies. Take some time. Be great. It's great. It's everybody feels. I mean, sorry, no, that's not true. People normally feel good when they've had sex, not all the time. But
what did you say? Sorry, could you repeat that? And then people.
Well, I'm saying, for couples, when their sex life starts up again, they just feel so much better about their relationship. It's a hot wire into a relationship.
Yeah,
we've all had that when we've been with someone and we've had a row, and you go to bed and you're on one side and your partner's on the other side, and all you really need to do is reach out and touch them, just touch them, touch their shoulder, stroke their hand, do something, hold their hand. And that will shift the moment. But then you don't do it because you hate them, or you're cross with them, or you're fed up with them. But physical touch is such a game changer. It's such a quick way of shifting the energy.
Yeah, it's massive, yeah.
But there's lots of reasons why we don't do it. But it's I really feel it's such a way of shifting energy. Hugging people, holding people, even with our friends, our children. I mean, my gosh, we all know having our hair. Well, depends what you like. Stroking someone's hair, massaging their shoulders, holding their hand, kissing their fingers.
Of course, it makes a massive difference. Yeah. I think it's even maybe I'm not sure about that, and but I think it's something that we do more easily on the continent.
Oh yes, I'm sure
Yeah.
that's true.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's true. We're useless in the UK. You know, I mean,
Not useless, but it's less. Let's say there is more of a distance, or physically there's more of a
actually,
distance.
I agree with you. I do totally agree with you about that. I mean,
Yeah.
we've only just started kissing each other hello in the UK. French people kiss each other hello for, you know.
Yeah, for a long time, for a very long time. Yeah.
For a long time. Yeah, we are a little bit more uptight about our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're a little bit more tense. I think we're not so good at, I was, kind of, being, free with our bodies, or just sitting there. Like the other day I was at the cinema and I was just stroking my daughter's hair, and I sort of I think I kissed her shoulder or something, and I look behind me, these people look at me, and I'm like,
it's something I would do as well. I mean, and I love that. And
I quite often just do that with my kids. I mean, my boys actually would probably rather die, but I'm like, we hug each other and we splay out on the sofa together, and we're quite tactile.
Yeah.
Because I want them to have that experience of what it's like to be tactile, just to enjoy your own body and holding people's hands and all that. Not sexual, so it's on their mother, but you never know.
Of course, yeah.
But you're right. I think you're better out on the continent than we are.
Phew. Okay. I think we should speak. I'm sure we'll speak again about all that. But I'm really happy that we've shared all this. Is there anything else you wanted to say, or?
No, I'm fine.
Yeah. Yes, so am I. Okay. Well, have a very enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll see you soon. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.